Hello there. So, recently I received a fine for driving accidentally in a bus lane on a visit to Cambridge. And I wanted to talk about the whole process because it was quite stressful, it was quite complicated, and unsatisfactory in my mind. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get on with it. So, I went on a business trip to Cambridge, got there, and then realised that I had arrived about an hour too early. So I thought, well, I'll go to a coffee shop, I'll go to a McDonald's actually, have a coffee and do some work on my laptop. So I put McDonald's into my car's GPS and followed it. Took me down some odd roads, but eventually it wanted to take me to the McDonald's that appeared to be on the Cambridge High Street. And I thought, well, the last thing I want to be doing is driving my car down the high street. I just wanted an out-of-town one. But it had taken so long to get to this McDonald's that I decided to abandon it, actually, and go somewhere else instead. So I turned left down a street called Silver Street, carried on down this road. Then I happened to see a sign and thought, well, what does that say? And before I knew it, I was driving in a bus lane. I wasn't certain. Got to the end of this unoccupied bus lane and there was a huge traffic jam because, as always, they were doing many roadworks in Cambridge, and I think I was just about on time for my meeting. Got home, and a week later I received a letter through the post telling me that I had incurred a £60 fine for driving in a bus lane. It would be reduced to £30 if I paid it within something like 30 days or 2 weeks or something. I can't remember exactly. Or I could make a representation, in case you thought that appeal was the word there. It's a representation. And they listed all the reasons for a potential representation, which essentially aren't sort of subjective. They are things like you weren't driving the car, or the signage was missing and things like that. So there was no room for sort of leniency. I didn't really have much to lose, and I was quite annoyed at having been caught driving in a bus lane because I didn't do it intentionally. First time I've ever received any sort of ticket for anything, and I thought, well, it's worth trying to write just a quick response to see if there's any humanity left in the world for an innocent person accidentally driving through an unoccupied bus lane. Incidentally, I should also say that the letter I received contained a photograph of my car driving through the bus lane. I guess so many people in the past have requested the evidence, and if they don't provide it within a certain amount of time, then the fine becomes invalid. So now they just send you the delightful picture of your own car. And you can even log on to a special website and watch the video of your car driving through the bus lane. It's just a shame that the video didn't show my confused and bewildered face as I struggled to get to my destination. Anyway, I wrote a representation on their website, only a couple of paragraphs long. I haven't got the text, unfortunately, and I'll explain why in a moment, but I basically listed a handful of reasons why I thought the ticket should be revoked. These aren't objective reasons that prove that I was innocent. I did clearly drive through a bus lane. These are mitigating circumstances that I think lessen the severity of my crime or my infraction of the highway code, if you like, and warrant some leniency in this case. So, firstly, I was new to Cambridge, I'm not familiar with the roads. Secondly, I was lost because I was following my GPS and it sent me down a street that I didn't realise had a bus lane. And I didn't put this in the letter, but I kind of wish I had, although it wouldn't have made any difference, I don't think. There was nowhere to turn around, so it was just a normal road that ended up as a bus lane. So it was kind of a bit, you didn't think, oh, well, I can't carry on down here because it's not telling me to turn round. I also mentioned about, my previous good form. I haven't had any tickets for anything, speeding tickets or anything in the past. I didn't do it intentionally. It was purely by accident. And then as a kind of little joke at the end, I also said it's very near Christmas as well, and I could do without a £30 fine. So I submitted my representation, filled in all the details, and it asked me whether or not I would like an email receipt of my submission. And of course I did, because I wanted the proof that I had sent a representation. So I clicked yes, closed it, and this is going to become a running theme in this video, but in the style of Winston Churchill when he announced war with Germany. I must tell you now, no such receipt was received, which is a little bit stressful actually, because you get a certain number of days before your fine doubles, and I think it even doubles again or goes up another 30 quid again if you don't pay within that extended period. So it's quite stressful to not know whether or not they've received your representation. So about a week later I logged into the website again, because I was getting a little bit stressed, thinking, well, have they received my representation, my appeal? And to my surprise, the website let me do the whole thing all over again. Now I didn't, because I'm a computer scientist. I know that some computer software and online systems can be crap, and let me reassure you, this system is horrendous. It does let you submit another representation, just as if you had never done anything in the past. Now, what surprised me even more and stressed me out even more at this time was that my fine had doubled, despite the fact that I had several days to go before the fine should have doubled. So I was very stressed at this point, genuinely stressed. I could feel the stress. So I phoned Cambridgeshire County Council and I explained the situation to them. And I don't know if they apologised, I can't actually remember, but they did say, oh yeah, there's been a mistake, your fine's doubled. Not sure how that happened. And yes, we have received your representation. And I said, okay, that's good. And they don't kind of automatically offer whether or not it was accepted or not. So I kind of asked, and I got an odd reply, which was a little bit vague, but I kind of interpreted from the reply that the claim had been unsuccessful, because basically the fee was still owing to Cambridgeshire County Council. And they told me that a letter had been sent in the post detailing the result of the claim. Let me tell you now, no such letter was received. Well, actually it was, but it took ages to arrive. Anyway, I phoned again days and days later and said, look, have you sent this? And they assured me that the letter was in the post. Well, eventually it did arrive, and I have that letter here. And it's quite interesting. I just wanted to share it a little bit with you. Firstly, I would also like to say that the video of me driving through, and indeed the picture of me driving through the bus lane, does reveal actually that I was driving alongside a cyclist. And I've since looked up in the highway code, and turns out that cyclists aren't allowed to drive in bus lanes unless the signage indicates that it is the case. But of course cyclists don't have number plates, so the cyclist will not receive a fine. Two people travelling in an empty bus lane, one receives a ticket for £30 and the other one doesn't. Just doesn't seem that fair to me, but then maybe I am a lunatic, I don't know. Anyway, I received this letter from Cambridgeshire County Council, which I would just like to say firstly does look like it's been printed on a 1990s bubble jet printer. The logo in the top right hand corner, I can see the sort of compression artifacts in the image. You'd think with all this money they're getting from bus lane tickets that they'd be able to afford a better quality printer, wouldn't you? But apparently not. Anyway, I received this letter saying that we received your representations about your penalty charge notice and we are rejecting your claim, and you should pay it now. Incidentally, I have paid it. I paid the £30. The price did go back down to 30. Isn't that good? I paid it, and I requested a receipt of payment, and do you know what? Funnily enough, no such receipt was received. I haven't to date received a single email from Cambridgeshire County Council, so I had to phone them again actually to make sure that they received the payment. because of course the other thing you don't want is to for the fine to go up because you paid the wrong person or their system is broken. So yeah, just endless streams of stress and essentially incompetence here, I'm afraid to say. It's annoying to get a bus lane ticket. It's doubly annoying, frustrating and stressful to receive a bus lane ticket and then all the associated hassle of the inadequacies of their computer system. Cambridgeshire County Council, please sort it out. Your system is a joke. But one thing that is incredibly thorough, detailed and unnecessarily so, is the response to my representation. Let me just have a quick look through here. It's been reviewed by a person. We looked at the footage. Yes, I looked at the footage as well. It's got a bicyclist in it. Cambridge is a very congested city. Yes, with all the roadworks you do, it is quite congested. You're correct. La la la, a load of preamble and waffle. You state you're unfamiliar with the access to Cambridge, so you were relying on your car satellite navigation. You say that you went through it by accident and you were oblivious. Driving in an unfamiliar area is not an adequate reason for driving in a bus lane. I'm not saying it's an adequate reason for driving in a bus lane. As I said previously, I didn't intentionally drive in the bus lane. It was by accident. And I think even if you killed somebody by accident or with intent, you will get a different level of sentence based on your intention, because that's the reasonable thing to do in the law. But no, you're right. You're right, I deserve a £30 fine for driving accidentally in a bus lane. Drivers should look out and adhere to all legal signs and are responsible for obeying traffic regulations when they are driving. Sat-navs are for guidance only. Oh, and then basically, I kid you not, but pages and pages of pictures, not that I asked for these or that I even said that the signage was inadequate, but pages and pages of stuff showing me all the pictures of the signs warning me about the bus lane in Silver Street. As I said, I'm not actually that familiar with Cambridge. New to the area, you see. Yes, you point out the 37,000 road signs in Cambridge, and of course there are also another 30,000 road signs warning of other things, aren't there? Children crossing, and don't park here, and go this speed here. You know what? There's arguably too much information being presented to adequately absorb the most important bits of information. So apologies that as well as driving to a new destination, not running people over, not running cyclists over, and obeying the speed limit and parking restrictions and all this sort of stuff, I'm afraid I miss the plethora of street signs warning me not to drive through a bus lane. And ultimately, the point at which you get to the bus gate, that is the point where it really matters, isn't it? So a sign that's level with the bus gate that says don't drive in this bus gate isn't going to help you. I mean, a great big barrier or something that physically stopped and protected the bus gate, that would probably be more appropriate. But yes, I am incredibly annoyed, as you can probably tell. I think it's grossly unfair that there's no differentiation between purposefully and accidentally breaking the law, if you like, if it is the law. The whole situation and process was complicated and stressful owing to the rubbish computer system and the unfairness of not judging these things on a human, sensible basis. Anyway, I hope you spend that £30 wisely on part of an upgrade to your computer system, Cambridgeshire County Council. Anyway, I wanted to share that story with you. Do subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Have you got a similar story you'd like to share with me? Or do you just think I'm a monster raving lunatic? Let me know down below. See you next time for another video.